So many premium hatchbacks, which one to buy? This right here is the second generation Toyota Glanza based on the second generation Maruti Baleno. This right here is the Tata Altroz, a car which has been around since a couple of years. It is tried and tested and it is selling in good numbers. That one has a single engine option. This one has 3 engine options. Both the cars are quite competitive in terms of space and comfort. So which one should be the right pick for you? Let's find out. But before we get started, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the MotorBeam channel. Now before we get started with the test, I'll just give you a quick lowdown on the dimensions and the safety features of both of these premium hatchbacks. The Toyota Glanza and the Tata Altroz are exactly the same in terms of length, while the Tata Altroz is wider by 10mm and taller by 23mm. Meanwhile, the wheelbase of the Glanza is longer than the Altroz's wheelbase by approximately 19mm. And if we talk about the safety features, the top end variants of the Toyota Glanza get 6 airbags, you get ABS with EBD, ISOFIX child seat mounts and even ESP. Meanwhile, on the Tata Altroz, you get dual front airbags on every variant. You get ABS with EBD on this car as well, along with ISOFIX child seat mounts and corner stability control. Meanwhile, the Tata Altroz has scored a 5-star global NCAP rating. This one hasn't been crash tested yet. How good is the rear seat comfort on both of these cars, and what about the ease of ingress and egress? Let's find out. On the Altroz, you have this handle over here on the C-pillar. 90-degree opening doors, a good feature, and getting in the car is a very easy affair. Nice experience in the rear seat of the Tata Altroz. Knee room is more than adequate. Headroom is nice. The width of the cabin is fine. You get rear AC vents. You get a 12-volt charging socket in the middle, and the seat back is a bit upright, but I think it does feel quite comfortable. You get 2 adjustable headrests at the rear. The rear center armrest does not have any cup holder or bottle holder, and overall the vibe in the cabin is decent over here. Now let's check out the Maruti Baleno. Maruti Baleno, Toyota Glanza, it is one and the same thing. We have these standard door handles over here. The door doesn't open 90 degrees wide, but it is wide enough, and getting in the car is also an easy affair over here. Now it is a good experience being in the rear seat of the Toyota Glanza. Knee room is again nice, headroom is also very nice, but I think in terms of the cabin ambience, it was the Tata Altroz which felt a bit better. Now this panel over here consumes a lot of space and it somehow eats into your view and it makes it a bit claustrophobic at the rear. So that is my concern, and you get rear AC vents in this car as well. You get a small cup holder and 2 charging ports at the rear. The rear center armrest, okay, this car does not have a rear center armrest, which is quite shocking at this price point. Meanwhile, the upholstery also feels very basic. It feels a bit more premium on the Tata Altroz. Here you get all fabric upholstery. On the Altroz, you get leatherette upholstery, which definitely adds some flavor to the cabin. So for the rear seat experience and the ease of getting in and out, I would rate the Tata Altroz better. Infotainment system, a very important feature these days. So the Toyota Glanza gets a 9-inch screen, which is similar to that on the Maruti Baleno. You get 4 speakers and 2 tweeters from Arcamis. You get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Quality of the screen is very nice, much better than the 7-inch screens that we have seen on earlier Maruti cars. Even some of the current ones have that screen. This one is much better and easier to use. And let's see how is the sound quality.
If someone said something stupid, swipe right now, I'm watching what you did. I went down, now I'm at a disadvantage, but I think that it's worth it. I put my headphones on, I play my favorite song, I go to sleep and try again. Mama used to try and tell me no man is an island, but
Sound quality is decent. It is nice, but not all that great. So probably out of 10, I would give it a rating of 6.5 or maybe 7 at the max. Now, the good thing about the Toyota Glanza is that you get a nice 360 view camera. The quality of the camera is also very good. You get a nice display over here. You also get some cool features like an HUD. Personally, I find the HUD quite useless, so I have shut it on this car. But there are people who like such features. So in terms of features, the Toyota Glanza is very nicely, kitted up. And now let's move to the Tata Altroz. So if we talk about the infotainment system of the Tata Altroz, you get a 7-inch screen, which is not all that great in terms of user interface. You get 4 speakers, 2 tweeters from Harman. On this, you get IRA connected car features. On the Toyota Glanza, you get Toyota Connect, which is similar to Suzuki Connect. And the reverse camera on this car is very, very average. The display is just about okay. The quality of the camera could have been better for a car of this segment, but let's check out the sound quality.
swipe right now, I'm watching what you did. I went down, now I'm at a disadvantage, but I think that it's worth it. I put my headphones on, I play my favorite song, I go to sleep and try
Sound quality on the Tata Altroz is way better than that of the Tata Glanza. So this is probably 8.5 out of 10. That one was 7 out of 10. So yes, good sound quality on this car, but the screen needs to be changed for sure. Now, one more thing that I noticed as soon as I got into the Altroz is the fact that this upholstery does heat up quite a bit. Now, both the cars have been standing in the sun for a really long time. The fabric upholstery on the Glanza doesn't heat up at all, but the leatherette on the Tata Altroz does feel quite hot. So how good are these cars in terms of storage spaces, bottle holders and cargo capacities? We have the Toyota Glanza first, and this right here is a 1 litre bottle which fits here easily. So that makes it 2 1 litre bottles in the front doors of the Toyota Glanza. And coming to the rear door, again this bottle fits here easily, so that makes it 4 1 litre bottles in the Glanza. And now coming to the boot, the Toyota Glanza has a capacity of 318 litres.
क्या प्रॉब्लम है तुम लोग का?
The boot opens big and wide, but the loading lip is quite high, so loading stuff takes a bit of an effort over here, and the boot itself is just about okay in terms of capacity.
हो गया? बंद कर अब. Don't disturb me again. Get out.
Talking about the center console of the Toyota Glanza, you get 2 1 litre bottle holders over here, and these bottles fit here comfortably. That makes it 6 1 litre bottles in the cabin of the Glanza. But the thing is that the bottle over here might foul with the AC control buttons, so you need to take care of that. Meanwhile, under the armrest also you get a nice storage area. The glove box is okay in terms of size, it is not too big. And behind the bottle holders over here also you get some storage space. Bottle holder attached with the Tata Altroz, and this 1 litre bottle fits here a bit easily, but it does not stand straight unlike the Toyota Glanza. It sits slanting in a slanting position, so that makes it 2 1 litre bottles in the Tata Altroz. You also have an umbrella holder in the front doors of this car. Talking about the rear door, this again fits here easily, so that makes it 4 1 litre bottles in the Tata Altroz. Now the boot of the Altroz is 345 litres big, which means it is considerably bigger than the Toyota Glanza. Loading lip is again on the higher side, and I don't know why this guy loves kidnapping himself. Talking about the center console of the Tata Altroz, you can put 2 1 litre bottles over here in this space, but the bottles won't stay still, they will keep moving around and fouling with the gear lever. You can also put 2 bottles over here, so that makes it a total of how many? 2 at the rear, 2 in the front doors, 2 over here, 2 over here, 8 1 litre bottles in the Tata Altroz. We also have a storage space over here, but the bottle won't go inside. And the glove box is much bigger than that of the Toyota Glanza. Definitely a lot of more usable space over here, and you can stuff a bottle over here also, I think. Oh yes, not bad. Good optimization of spaces by Tata Motors, definitely a nice job. I'm driving the Toyota Glanza first, and it feels exactly the same as the Maruti Baleno to drive. So this gets a 1.2 litre K series petrol engine making 89 horses, 113 Nm of torque, and this gets a 5-speed manual or an AMT. Now the Glanza earlier used to come with a CVT which was much more smoother, but it used to consume a lot more fuel. The AMT over here is more efficient, and the manual is definitely a joy to use. The manual which I'm driving right now, the clutch is very light. Of course, the release point is a bit on the higher side, and the gear shifts also very smooth. The petrol engine is also nicely responsive. The low end is decent. In the mid-range, it does feel a bit flat, with the top end is again a bit on the exciting side. So definitely drivability is very good, and you can actually enjoy driving this car and pushing the limits of this engine. In terms of handling, the Toyota Glanza is just about neutral. The steering definitely does not communicate as much as it does on the Tata Altroz, and it feels a bit dead at high speeds. At speeds about 100 km/h, the steering could have offered a lot more confidence. The ride quality on the Toyota Glanza is nice, better than the older car, and it is quite comfortable.
And talking about rear seat, it is actually very comfortable than before. And how tall are you, Parth?
I am 6 feet tall.
So he is 6 feet tall, I am 6 feet tall, and I am comfortably seated here. Yes, my knees are brushing a bit to the front seat, but still it doesn't bother me much. All in all, it's very comfortable, and I can say I can literally sit here like for 200 or 300 kilometers, no problem.
Good, then you will sit there only. I will drive the car non-stop.
No, that is not happening. No, I want to drive. You are sitting behind.
Because the driving position is so sporty, you get a nice view of what's around. It is indeed a very nice low slung driving position, and the Baleno and the Glanza also has an idle start-stop feature to help you save some fuel. So yes, definitely a good car to drive around. Nice engine, decent dynamics. Now, unlike the Toyota Glanza, the Tata Altroz actually gets 3 engine options. You get a 1.2 litre naturally aspirated Revotron, you get a 1.2 liter turbocharged petrol I-turbo, and you also get a 1.5 liter diesel engine. The one which I'm driving right now is the turbo variant. Now both the petrol engines of the Altroz are 3-cylinder units. Meanwhile on the Glanza, the petrol engine is a proper 4-cylinder engine. NVH levels are definitely better on the Glanza, and the engine also produces lesser vibrations in that car. In this, the engine does sound a bit gruffy, and at higher RPMs also the noise does tend to filter inside the cabin. Now if we talk about the performance of the petrol engines of the Altroz, the Revotron engine is just about average in terms of performance. It is not very exciting to drive, and it actually makes such a nice car feel quite dull. Meanwhile the I-turbo which I'm driving right now is much better in comparison. So the Revotron makes 86 horses, 113 Newton meters. This one makes 110 horses and 140 Newton meters. Yes, the I-turbo is a welcome addition to the Altroz, but again the tuning of this engine could have also been slightly better, but even now it is good. And if we talk about the automatic gearbox of the Altroz gets a DCA, but the DCA is offered not with the turbo but with the Revotron engine, which again makes it a very dull combination. So the petrol engines of the Tata Altroz have room for improvement. Here is where the Glanza leaps ahead.
Talking about ride quality, yes, the Tata definitely shines in front of Toyota Glanza. It is a very comfortable place to be. The only gripe I have is my shins are touching the front seat. I have ample knee room, but shins are like, so my legs are uncomfortable. And also the headroom is okay-ish. Like, I would prefer a bit more headroom.
So that's about the ride quality, but the biggest advantage of the Tata Altroz is that it also gets a diesel engine. This one makes 90 PS and 200 Newton meters on the Altroz. This is a very good engine in terms of drivability and of course in terms of fuel economy as well. And out of all the three engines on the Altroz, the diesel would definitely be my pick. Now sadly the diesel is not offered with an automatic. You get a 5-speed manual with that also, and the clutch of the Altroz manual is light. The gear shifts, they could have been a bit more slicker. They do have a slight amount of notchiness in them. The Tata Altroz also gets driving modes which the Glanza does not have. So if you buy the regular Altroz, you get city and eco driving modes. If you buy the turbo, you get city and sport driving modes, which again alter the driving experience a bit. In terms of fuel economy, if we talk about the petrol engines, again the Toyota Glanza is slightly ahead of the Altroz in real world figures. Meanwhile the diesel of the Altroz is in another league altogether. The handling of the Tata Altroz is something that really needs a mention over here. This car drives like a proper big car. It feels so mature and composed with the driving manners, and the dynamics are just spot on. So yes, in terms of dynamics, it is the Altroz which is better than the Glanza. The ride quality is again better than that of the Glanza. The steering feel is better than the Glanza, but the petrol engines are a letdown.
So all in all, the diesel package is the winner, right?
If I had to pick the Altroz only, it would be the diesel for sure, not the petrol. So how do we sum up the Tata Altroz and the Toyota Glanza? Now the Tata Altroz excels in terms of ride quality, build quality and driving dynamics. Meanwhile, the Toyota Glanza excels in terms of the petrol engine's performance and the long equipment list. So now you have to see what is your priority amongst all of these things. If you are okay with neutral performance, I'd say just go for the Tata Altroz. It is a nice car, tried and tested, and it won't let you down as such. But if you want something new, something which offers a lot of tech to play around with, and if you want some more sprightly performance, go for the Toyota Glanza. Meanwhile, if you want something which offers all and you don't mind spending a bit more, I'd say go for the Hyundai i20 Turbo DCT. It is actually one of the best premium hatchbacks around. Of course, it is a bit pricey, but the price is worth it. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.